So let me ask you a question, guys. Have you praised to our new Lord and Savior, Mr. Chicken? How we doing, guys? It is John here, bringing you another deck profile for today. For today, we are going to be going over another standard list for you. This time we have my personal favorite deck that I'm having so much fun with at the moment, and that is for Dragon Empire Nirvana overdress. Personally, I'm loving this deck at the current moment. The sheer number and power aggression that this deck is able to perform with is absolutely amazing. Not only that, but they have the amazing Varina Arcs as well, which is a free Pot of Greed. We're going to be going over that as well as a few more cards in this deck profile. But remember, before I begin, if you like this style of content, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, as it does help the channel, and we greatly appreciate it. But without further ado, let us go ahead and get right into this profile. So, of course, we're going to be going over the ride line first. We are playing the best deck Eugene starter because, of course, guys, Eugene is best deck, so we have to represent it. Of course, that being said, though, when we do get the foily egg in the Festival Collection, he will be coming out. But for the time being, I like having the foily starter, so that is nice. And then after that, of course, we're going to be playing the rest of the respective ride line with the Blaze Maiden Renu, the Blaze Maiden Reina, and, of course, the Chakrabarti Nirvana. Very standard. This is going to be your ride line for the overdress strategy, as it is the most consistent and, you know, what the deck is intended to do with this particular ride line. Anyway, very self-explanatory there. All right, so starting out with the grade 3s, of course, with our other Chakrabarti, we're going to be running 3 more copies of the Chakrabarti Divine Dragon Nirvana. Guys, this is going to be the main grade 3 ride for your deck. He is a very powerful card. Large amounts of pressure onto your opponent, not only with the plus 10k power, but of course, you know, with Persona riding and then being able to put a multitude amount of pressure. So basically, but plus 20k on multiple swings is overall very powerful. Not only that, but of course, the ability to discard and get a free Trickstar back is very good as well, because if your opponent is constantly just trying to attack into those pesky overdressed rear guards, you can just rise back to Trickstar and re-overdress and keep pushing your opponent into the face. Overall, it's a very nice card. I personally see it more as a tempo card. When I first originally played the deck, I always thought of it more as just pure aggro, but in certain scenarios, it is nice to actually main tempo above anything else. And you don't always want to counterblast with the Nirvana skill. There are going to be some scenarios where you're just going to swing vanilla with it, because you do want to conserve your counterblasts for other things such as Varina Valiente or maybe even Arcs on the following turn. So overall, it's a very interesting card where you're going to have to plan out your attack strategies and not just go full Unga Bunga, which is another reason why I'm personally liking the deck at the moment. To that, though, we are going to be playing the main super quote-unquote boss unit for the overdress strategy, and that is 4 copies of Varina Valiente. So guys, Valiente is, of course, the finisher, the big boy, the amazing super push card that, you know, of course, the ability is you have to overdress onto Trickstar, or you overdress onto a card with the overdressed state in it. So, for example, if you are in Trickstar and then you go into original Varina, from that original Varina, you can then overdress into Varina Valiente. And then, of course, his other effect is the on hit, if he is in the overdress state, you can counterblast one, restand him. And then the other ability, which is why he's super amazing, is that for every card in the original dress that he has, he gets an additional 5k power on your turn and your opponent's turn. So it's able to be played defensively like that. A 13k body is also always very nice because in combination with something like Nirvana, he doesn't necessarily need to be in the overdress state. Just with the Persona ride and the plus 10k ability, the card becomes a 23 to 33k beater by himself, no overdress required. So yeah, super good card, guys. He is going to be a staple for the foreseeable future, even with the new Varina card coming out in DBTO2. He's just a very solid card. Moving on to grade 2s, we're going to be playing 4 copies, of course, of Mr. Varina himself. Such an amazing card, guys. This card asks for a lot of aggression on your opponent, being able to be a 20k when in the overdress state, as well as 30k when you do this in combination with Nirvana's skill. Not only that, but the Soul Blast 2 is very nice to help retire pesky rear guards that might seem counterintuitive and kind of not what you want on your opponent's board. So if they go in something like heavy aggro on you on the early game, you can just Soul Blast 2 and then kill their dudes, and then respond back with even more aggression on your part, because not only are you retiring their stuff, but you also have a big body on the board that they have to respond to. Very nice, and he's searchable off the ride line too, so he's... Oftentimes, I also see him as sometimes discard fodder, because he's not always the main overdress card you want to go into. but more so the plus more big beat stick for the overdress strategy. We are also going to be playing, personally, I think one of my favorite cards in this entire deck. That is the main man himself, Varina Arcs, aka Pot of Greed on legs. This card is busted. Counterblast 1 when you overdress, draw 2, so good, gets you so much resource. The plus 5k is also nice because it has additional resource capabilities in terms of being able to counter aggro your opponent with a nice magic number. Put this behind an 8k booster, it becomes a 23. Put this behind a 10k booster, 25, which is super nice if you're going to grade 3 first or they're at grade 2. Just makes really nice numbers. And yeah, who doesn't like Pot of Greed? Such a good card, guys. Seeing this as a foreseeable staple for the time being. We are also going to be playing for our last grade 2 slot. We're going to playing 2 copies of the Burn Bright Pure Prayers. Originally, I was actually doing this in my initial playtesting. I was either A, not playing the card at all, or B, playing it as a 3 of. But the problem I'm having personally with this card is that it's kind of meh for me. It's very situational. There are some times where I like to have the additional 15k shield, and there are other times where I don't see it as beneficial for me. And the fact that, you know, when it comes to blitz orders, or just orders in general, you can only play an order once per turn, unless you're alchemagicking. But this card, this deck doesn't alchemagic, so we don't do that. So I'm just personally comfortable with the 2 copies at the current moment. However, I do see when DB202 eventually releases, I'm probably going to be taking these out and putting in the card that's essentially the pitcher card with overdress and draw 2, as I see that a lot more beneficial for this strategy. But as it stands right now, it's nice. The 15k shield does come up every now and then, so it's nice to have a defensive option if need be. Now, my grade 1 lineup is definitely going to be a little strange for people. Originally, I was, you know, testing out stuff like the Tenshesteads, and I was testing out the things like proper amount of 10k boosters for more aggro and things like that. But this is the current grade 1 lineup I'm personally comfortable with at the moment, and it's doing well for me. So we're going to be playing, of course, 4 copies of a D PG, because they are PGs. You like PGs. PGs are nice. You want to live. Living in this game is good. And I'm very happy that at least I have 4 foil copies, I will say that. One of them is SP, because I did get them from the case split from Henry, so thanks to Henry if you are watching this. And I was lucky enough to pull a foil SP from the box. So yeah, it is nice to have these guys. It looks so good too. The art is just amazing on this card. I love it. For the rest of my grade 1s, I am only playing 2 copies of the 10k booster. It's nice, don't get me wrong, to have consistent numbers on the late game, but there are certain scenarios where I don't find the card as beneficial in the early game, as it is just an 8k body on the board and it doesn't help in certain rush scenarios, which is sometimes how I like to play my strategies. I like to be a little more aggro than I am, less tempo, and this card just answers a little less when it comes to that regard. You can play it as a 4 of if you wish, and swap out some other cards if you don't want to, but as it stands right now, 2 copies of Volca Hazard is fine with me. And then you might be asking, okay, what are the other cards you're going to be running, John? Well, I am running 3 copies of the Blaze Maiden Reno. Now, you might be asking yourself, why are you running Blaze Maiden Reno? It's an okay card at best. You probably want to maybe swap it out with something else, maybe more 10k boosters, maybe a Tenshestead. So the reason why I don't like Tenshestead at the current moment is that this deck, as it is right now, counterblasts a lot. You're counterblasting for Arcs, you're counterblasting for Nirvana, you're possibly counterblasting for the Valiente skill, and there's not that much room left to be able to counterblast for Tenshestead. So I thought a better card would be maybe something I'd want to respond with as an aggro card in the early game. Hence, Blaze Maiden Reno comes in. Her ability is, you know, standard ride line stuff, but her other ability is that during the battle that she attacks, she gets 2k. So if they're at grade 2 first, and you want to aggro them, you can just slap down the Reno, and it's a 10k attacker. So it asks for more cards out of the game in the early game, which is nice. And yeah, as it stands right now, personally comfortable with it. You can swap it out if you need to, but yeah, more of a fan of this than Tenshestead at the moment. But yeah, if you have a different opinion on it, please let me know in the comments down below. Very curious to hear other people's thoughts. It would not be a overdress deck without the main overdress unit himself. That is 4 copies of Trickstar. Guys, you need to play 4 copies of Trickstar. Trickstar is amazing. I do see people playing Trickstar sometimes as the starter because it is a nice advantage engine. If you're going first, you'll be able to Soul Blast it out and be able to res it later via Nirvana's skill. But I am not too comfortable with that strategy. I'm more of a fan of being able to gain the Trickstar if I need to via draw skills, and or just having the 1 copy of Trickstar via the search of the ride line skills. Yeah, 4 copies, definitely needed. I will say this though, one thing. If you are going against Prison, specifically, this card is hilarious because the effect of cannot be chosen by your opponent's card effects does work in the Prison matchup. So if you just call down 2 Trickstars with 2 boosters on the side, they can't get to their 3 Prison condition, at least at the current moment, at the time of this recording. And yeah, you kind of just lock them out of skills. It's kind of funny. Love it. Love this card. And he's adorable too, guys. So cute. Now on to triggers. You play one of Busted over Trigger because you need to. It's overdress, so over Trigger. I personally think that this card is amazing, but at the same time, it's also very bad. Of course, over triggers are over triggers. There isn't that much to say about it. I personally think that the restand ability is very strong. However, if you do check it in the early game, it's less impactful, definitely more of a late game card. And if you do check it in combination with something like Nirvana, you can technically do Nirvana skill again and get plus 20k to your pump board, which is absolutely insane. So yeah, good card, but also not good card. For the rest of my lineup, I am playing 3 draw triggers. 3 draw triggers is fine right now. I rarely deck out in this deck, as funny as that may be. So I just like having the resources in your hand. Draw triggers are always nice. So we are going to be playing a whole bunch of crits because we are aggro. We like going in heavy. 4 crit and 4 more crit for a total of 8 crit. You want to try and end the game as fast as possible. Crits get you there. Very powerful. Yeah, not much else to say. And then, of course, you also like living in this game. So we play 4 of the heal triggers. However, ladies and gentlemen, I am at a personal dilemma right now for 2 reasons. 1, because she is very pretty, her art is amazing, but at the same time, look at him. He's so adorable. I don't know which one to choose. I know she's getting a foil pattern for the festival collection, so I might go with that, but at the current moment, just look at him. You want to protect him. Oh my goodness. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below, guys, which one I should choose. Team Dinosaur or Team Blaze Maiden. That is my deck profile. Overall, I'm having a lot of fun with it. It is by far my personal favorite deck at the moment. There's just so much that you can do when it comes to attack patterns, adapting strategies, you know, counterflowing with your opponent, and then the shenanigans, of course, of getting over trigger and just sacking people in the face is also very funny, not funny. I don't know. Funny for me, yay. But yeah, personal favorite deck. What do you think in the comments down below? Let me know. Be curious. And yeah, that's going to do it for me, guys. My name is Mama John from Team Greylock, and I will see you guys next time. Deuces!